Under ordinary circumstances, we all know this to be tax day, but April 15th always means something extra for sports fans, particularly African American sports fans. It was on this day in 1947 when Jackie Robinson broke the color barrier in Major League Baseball. April 15, 1947 at Ebbets Field in Brooklyn, Robinson suited up in the number 42 jersey and went 0 for 3, but scored a run in the Dodgers' 5-3 win over the Boston Braves. Back then, when baseball was king, it changed everything in the major sports in North America. One of the many millions Jackie Robinson affected was Dave Sims. Major League Baseball has 30 teams. There is only one, though, the Seattle Mariners, which has a black TV play-by-play announcer. His name is Dave Sims, and I spoke with him earlier this afternoon. This is Jackie Robinson Day. 73 years ago today, he broke the color barrier in the majors by making his debut with the Brooklyn Dodgers, not too far away from where you are now. Give our viewers a sense of what Jack Roosevelt Robinson meant to you.
Well, I would say after my dad is my greatest hero, because once I heard about who he was and what he did and how he did it, what he went through, it's like all of a sudden my pot runneth over, the kettle runneth over in esteem and admiration. And he's one of the most consequential Americans, not just sports figures, consequential Americans of the 20th century, to the point where Dr. King saluted him, way back in the mid-50s, saying that if Jackie Robinson did not accomplish what he set out, Dr. King would not have been able to be successful in his lane. So, and the other thing I always talk about Jackie Robinson, I mean, baseball's a difficult game. It's a game built based on failure. I mean, 70% of it, if you fail 70% of the time, you're a superstar. And here's a guy that went out and had just, can you imagine going to work and people cussing at you, screaming at you, spitting at you, calling you every name? Well, he went out and excelled. He won Rookie of the Year his first year in 1947, came back with an MVP a couple of years later. I mean, what more can you say about the guy?
Yeah, people doing all that and not retaliating. I mean, just unconscionable. Now, I know you never met Mr. Robinson personally, but you have met his widow. Give us a sense of what that was like.
Well, she has the same strength of character that he had, and Jackie Robinson would be nothing without her. I mean, thank God for Rachel Robinson. And I met her here in New York, I want to say 1985, and I was over around 49th, 50th and Broadway, and I was walking to work, and I see that, I'm looking around and thinking, I said, wait a minute, I know that woman over there. And I thought, well, it's not family. And then I went, duh, it's Rachel Robinson. Ran across through the red light, avoiding traffic, playing Frogger, getting through what was like a Seinfeld episode. And went over and told her, I said, Mrs. Robinson, I said, my name's Dave Sims. I'm a sportscaster, been at it for a while. I would not be here doing this without you and your husband and what you all went through. You carried the cross for us, and you opened the doors for us. And here I am, lucky enough to have this career that I wanted to get into as a in sports media, as a writer, talk show host, broadcaster, play-by-play. And she was super gracious, wonderful, regal lady, and I subsequently met her at the Jackie Robinson Foundation dinner. You can't say enough about Mrs. Rachel Robinson.
Now, it's interesting you mentioned that. It's not a stretch at all to say if there were no Jackie Robinson, you wouldn't be what you're doing, I wouldn't be what I'm doing. How often do you consider that when you call games?
Every day I wear this 42 cap. This 42 cap was given out on African American Heritage Day back in Seattle a few years ago, and if I'm wearing black and blue or something that matches this blue and gold, I sport this cap a lot along with my other. I'm a big hat and cap guy. And Todd Frazier came to me one time when he was with the White Sox. He said, "Hey man, Tim Anderson saw that cap. He wants to get one, but he didn't know you." And he was a little tentative. He didn't, a little bashful coming up. I know Todd a little bit, so I hooked him up with the cap. And Jeff Bannister, who was managing Texas, one time he wanted to take it off my head. I love that cap, and everywhere I go, love your cap, love your cap. And a lot of people around the Seattle offices, down the Mariner offices, wear these caps.
That's interesting. You are the only black television play-by-play guy in all of Major League Baseball. Is that a shock to you? Is it discouraging? Why isn't the broadcast booth more inclusive when it comes to African American announcers?
I want to. The non-former player division too.
Right.
Bill White was an inspiration back in the day when he transitioned from player to broadcaster. It's not discouraging. I got to keep, for me, I have guys like yourself and a lot of younger guys, and I hear from younger kids, white and black, but especially when I hear from the young black broadcasters, say, "Hey, man, hey, you're the only guy I've ever seen doing this." And it's like the old Joe DiMaggio line, why do you try so hard, and why do you try to be as close to perfect as you can every day? And Joe DiMaggio said, because somebody's seeing me for the first time. And it's it's something I carry with me all the time, and I love what I do. And I've been very fortunate, to do, pretty much, football, baseball, basketball, college basketball, NFL, college football, a little bit of boxing. It's been a great ride. I thank God for it all the time, let me tell you. But I think a lot of it, you don't see a lot of folks like us doing this, ergo you don't have a lot of people aspiring to it if we're not out there. So the 30, let's say, just for our discussion's sake, the 100 or so of us broadcasters out there on a national or local basis who are black, we carry a big responsibility.
Dave Sims, thank you for your time. Thanks for the path that you've paved for so many of us, myself included. We wish you and yours good health as we hopefully get to the end of this pandemic and get back to baseball very soon. Dave, thanks for joining us here on BNC.
Anthony, thank you very much. Appreciate the time, and God bless and stay safe.